Hello, this is Danielle Yawowiecka with the BBC News. President Biden has strongly defended his decision to withdraw US troops from Afghanistan. Mr. Biden said the clear goals of the US mission in Afghanistan were focused on counter-terrorism, not nation-building. As to the current situation, he said he'd made it clear to the Taliban that attacks on US personnel engaged in the withdrawal operation could be met with devastating force. David Willis reports.
The crisis in Afghanistan has presented Joe Biden with the biggest challenge of his presidency to date. The Republican response to the chaos in Kabul has been excoriating, and the coverage of events by the US media no less brutal. Cutting short his holiday to return to the White House, Mr. Biden conceded that events on the ground in Afghanistan had unfolded more quickly than his administration had anticipated. But he blamed the rapid advance of Taliban forces on a lack of will on the part of the Afghan army.
The United Nations Secretary-General has urged the Taliban to exercise the maximum restraint to protect lives. Speaking to the Security Council, Antonio Guterres called on the international community to make sure that Afghanistan was never again used as a safe haven for terrorist organisations. The mayor of Kabul, Dawood Soltanzoy, says the Taliban have asked him to stay on in his post to ensure stability. He said the militants were surprised they'd been able to take over so rapidly, and most of their leaders were not in Kabul. Victorious Taliban fighters with rifles have been patrolling the streets. This man, who cannot be identified for his own safety, described the situation in his neighbourhood.
As we speak, there's Taliban right at my doorstep. There's a few of them forcing themselves on our family, and we have to provide them dinner. And if we refuse, we'll face force. There's hundreds of them, in the streets. Many of them don't speak the local language. These are many foreign fighters. We're under invasion right now.
A tropical storm has made landfall in Haiti, drenching the country with heavy rain as it deals with the aftermath of Saturday's powerful earthquake. At least 1,400 people were killed in the quake and almost 7,000 injured. Will Grant has more.
Many roads have been damaged by mudslides caused by aftershocks. Some medical personnel are coming via helicopters organised by American aid agencies and the Haitian Coast Guard. The hospitals have been overwhelmed by hundreds of injured, and the risk of infection for the wounded is high in the abject and unsanitary conditions. Those who have been left homeless in the earthquake are sleeping rough on football pitches and other makeshift camps. The government and international aid teams are concerned about the risk of a further spread of COVID-19.
You're listening to the World News from the BBC. Blue Origin, the space company owned by the Amazon boss Jeff Bezos, is suing the US government over NASA's decision to award a big moon exploration contract to its competitor SpaceX. The contract, worth almost $3 billion, is for building systems that will enable human landings on the moon. The Nicaraguan government has cancelled the registration of 6 foreign non-governmental organisations in what critics say is a crackdown on opponents of the country's president, Daniel Ortega. Last month, the Nicaraguan government cancelled the registration of several local NGOs who'd criticised his administration. In recent months, police have also arrested 12 senior opposition figures, including 4 presidential hopefuls. The Health Ministry in Ivory Coast says it has begun a vaccination programme against Ebola after the country confirmed its first case since 1994. It said the family of the infected teenager and health workers involved were the first to be given the jab. Officials say they plan to vaccinate 2,000 people by Wednesday. The infected teenager tested positive on Saturday after arriving in the commercial hub Abidjan on a bus from neighbouring Guinea. The Health Secretary, Pierre Dimba, explained how she got into the country.
It's not that the bus left Guinea to cross the border and return to the Ivory Coast. No. People come illegally. It's like people who take boats to cross into Europe. They arrive at the border, they cross it by roundabout ways, and then they continue on their way once they're in Ivory Coast.
Israel has requested international help to deal with wildfires near Jerusalem. Foreign Ministry officials said Greece and Cyprus had responded with offers to send firefighting aircraft. The fires regained intensity on Monday after they appeared to be brought under control on Sunday night, forcing more residents to evacuate villages to the west of Jerusalem. Hundreds of firefighters, supported by 12 planes, have been mobilised to tackle the flames. BBC News.